Okay, you go.
No, I was gonna say, like, you know how earlier I think you said something about like, oh, if you have a girl, about going out late and stuff like that.
That's the example people constantly.
Yeah, that is a really that's gets brought up every single time, and I feel like in that sense it is different. But I think a lot of it is focused on like telling a girl like, oh, you shouldn't go out late at night by yourself, and that's happened to me. Like I have a younger brother, and like he's younger than me, but like after a certain like it was a thing where if at night I just wanted to go to the shops to grab food, my mom would be like, oh, take your brother with you. But if my brother were to go, she wouldn't say the same to me, you know. But I feel like they never kind of focused on saying anything to my brother in the sense of like, oh, when you're out at nighttime and you see a girl walking alone, don't approach her. Like, you know, I feel like some guys have picked up on it. Like, for example, sometimes if I'm walking alone, like a guy will cross the street to go on the other side to make me feel a bit more safe, you know?
No, they do that to make themselves feel safe so that they don't get looked at like they're getting like they're following you.
Yeah, but like, you know, they realize, okay, this is how a girl might take it. I feel like some people have picked up on it, but I feel like you need to focus more on telling your kids that as well, because a lot of guys don't understand the problem in catcalling, right? Like, do you think catcalling is bad?
Yeah.
Catcalling is ridiculous. Like, have some
But I'm not
decorum.
like, let's
No,
say
no,
like,
have some decorum, like whistling and all this. Like,
Oh yeah, man. Have you seen,
No, but
have
let's
you seen
say-
those
let's-
snaps of man them like doing like monkey noises?
yeah, okay,
DMs
that's
and that?
crazy, like things like that. But you know, even simple, like let's say a girl's walking on the street and you kind of walk up to her and say, hi, can I get you a snap? Like, do you think that's okay to do?
I think it depends on
how
you're
you do
raised
it.
or what. Some people wouldn't do it, like say like religious people, like a Muslim wouldn't do that, or certain. It depends on.
Yeah.
But I say if a man wants to respectfully ask a girl out, I'm sure that there's nothing punishable by that.
Because I feel like that's where people's opinions differ a bit. Because, you know, some people are like, oh, girls want to be moved in a natural way. What's more natural than you see someone on the street and you're like, oh, she's pretty, let me go ask her snap. But also on the other side, it's like, why, like, you know, like, why, like, I'm just walking and you've just come and, like, made me, like, you know, especially if it's darker and a guy approaches you, you never have good thoughts in your head. You're thinking, what the hell is this guy trying to do, you know? So,
You
like...
talk about telling your children things. I saw this video on YouTube a long time ago. It was about like little black children in America, and the video was made, and it was a compilation of a group of parents who were brought together, and they was recording the children with that, and they would explain to the parents about the whole police brutality thing, etc., etc., and they were showing videos of the parents telling their children, these like 5, 6, 7-year-old like small children, primary school kids, and they're telling them if police come to you, do exactly as they're told, don't resist, don't argue, they'll shoot you, you'll get murdered. Like the parents are telling their kids very violent things like, oh, you're black, anything that happens, you're going to get murdered by police, make sure you do exactly as they're told. And what the criticism of that video was that people are saying the parents are raising the children to be afraid. Not that they should be afraid because something is going to happen, but they're saying they should be afraid, otherwise something's going to happen, which is a sort of circular backwards logic. And what people were criticizing in their video was that instead they should just raise the children to not break the law, be respectful to, you know, whoever, be respectful to, hold on, be respectful to the officer, but don't feel like the minute you see an officer, it's going to be a death sentence because you're going to bring out panic. But that was a criticism of that video in that particular context. You bring up this about your parents not saying this to you or saying that to you and not saying this to your brother. My problem is this, and the problem that people had in the video is that in reality, and the statistics even back this up, if you're talking about who is at risk for crime or harassment or being attacked at night, the statistics will actually show you that a man is more at risk of being attacked than a woman is. But either way, anyone can really be a victim of crime. So this idea that a woman can't go or a man can go or a man can fend off for himself, I'll tell you this, like, if someone pulls out a knife on me or they pull out a knife on you, both of us are getting killed regardless. So people are teaching their children this misconception, like they were teaching their kids in that video, to be afraid of police. You're teaching them to be afraid of police. I don't think you should warn women about, you know, how some men are bad and sexual harassment and creeps. Well, you shouldn't make women afraid of men, and you shouldn't even make men afraid of women. That's my problem with what you just said. And I'll still come back to saying, you still got to raise them the same, because there are dangers of being out at night. There's dangers of being out in the day. There's dangers of being out, but it's not too much gender focused. But what do you have to say about it?
I think, you know, you just said that, you know, more men are harmed at night and stuff like that. But I think that might have something to do with the fact that women won't go out as much as men at night anyway.
No,
I don't see a lot of women out late at night anyway. Actually, it's normally guys walking around by themselves because girls don't feel safe, right? So I think that might have something to do with, you know, the fact that...
It's possible. You
Do
get.
you know what I'm saying? Because maybe they're not going out. Like that's why they're not, you know, high on in the stats.
Okay, but I'd even suggest that from what I've heard, and it's not that I've not personally looked into it, but even if you adjust, like statisticians would have done this, even if you adjust for the relative rates of, you know, who's present at a crime scene, but they'll probably still tell you a man is more likely
But
to be a victim of
The
crime.
thing is, the man will be a victim of a crime from another man. Do you
Yeah.
know how rare it is that it's a woman who's done something to that
It's probably
man?
a lot rarer,
It's
yeah.
like, again, this is not like actual statistics, but 99% will be it's a man doing it to a man.
Yeah.
But if something happens to a woman, again,
It's a man.
99% it will
man.
be a man. So I don't think you shouldn't tell women to be wary of men. I would not agree with that. Because the way I'll raise my daughter will be that way, because I feel like
You'll tell her what specifically. That
I'll
she
tell
should be-
her, if you're walking alone at nighttime, you should be wary. And these are skills that my mum never like actively told me this. She would just be like, don't go at night or take your brother or whatever. But if you talk to any woman, they will have certain things that they do when they're walking at night. And this is just something you just grow to do. Like, for
I've
example...
heard, like, you have